Hey everybody, this is a roster review for Element388. She is 4.3 million. She's played for a few years now and is a small dolphin. She's a member of the SWGOH. Hey everybody, they're a 112 million guild and they're doing fantastic. Keep up the good work. In this review, we're going to cover the GAC Territory Wars teams, her arenas, Dark Side GOTB preparation, and then we're going to wrap it up with her main priorities in the game. Currently, Element is missing all of the GLs, but she is working on Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. She's closest there, and I strongly urge her to keep on going for that. Slacker is huge. He's a beast. Now let's look at her 501st. She doesn't have gas just yet, but the 501st is looking good overall. The only thing I'd recommend is to go ahead and relic Arc Trooper, and under Shock T, this team is highly effective. Moving on to Bounty Hunters. Your Bounty Hunters look pretty good. I wouldn't worry too much about them right now. Maybe go ahead and get that last star on the Mandalorian. Prepare for that event later. But not a huge deal right now for where you're at in the game. Your Empire is looking pretty good. I don't see any really big holes there. Vader you could punch up to Relic 5 or a little bit more. He is fantastic and just wipes out so many teams. The only thing that I really see missing that I wish you had is Shore Trooper. It's a great Empire tank, but again, it's not the highest priority in the world. Keep your eye out on Moff Gideon and Admiral Piet. Those two are fantastic characters. Moving on to Ewoks. Your Ewoks are overgeared. They're fantastic. Don't worry about any more gear on them. And now let's go to the First Order, where you have done some really good work. You've got a lot of relics going on. You've got some Gear 12. The only holes are your First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot, First Order Stormtrooper, and Sith Trooper. I highly recommend that you go ahead and get those stars. That's one of your main farms right now. Get your stars completed. Get your First Order to the adequate gear levels they need to be. And don't forget, you're going to need signal data, which is in Cantina Energy. You're going to need the signal data to put the relics on these characters. So keep an eye out on that. Start building up that signal data now so you don't have to wait and get them all geared and then, oh, I can't relic them because I don't have the signal data. One recommendation that I'm going to throw out here and I'll talk about later again, go ahead and make a spreadsheet for just your First Order characters that you're going to need for unlocking Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Also, the other couple characters, if you need those relics, put them on that spreadsheet. Go to Star Wars or SWGOH.gg and look up the gear. You can either do it by gear needed or gear levels and then see what you've got and then what you need at each level. Put that on your spreadsheet. That way you're farming for gear that you know you need and not spending time getting gear that's going to be like overkill that, you know, it's not going to be useful here. Okay, next up is your Galactic Republic, which is Padme. You've got a great start on that. Kenobi's already reliced. What I would recommend is go ahead and take Padme to like Relic 2, something like that. Ahsoka Tano, Relic 3 or 4. General Kenobi and Jedi Knight Anakin are both Relic 7 worthy. They're fantastic for their ships. You're going to need that later, but also they are very powerful characters. Once you get Negotiator, you'll be all set, and your Padme team will be doing a lot of damage. Geos. Your Geos are looking good at Gear 12. This is plenty for what you need for most of the game. An option later on is to take Brute Alpha to Relic 1, a little more survivability. That's really all you need, except maybe for the Acklay mission in Dark Side territory battles. That one you're probably going to want to Relic Spy as well, but that's something that you'll talk about with your guild, whether you're going to go for that or not. You know, where is your gear going to be best used? Imperial Troopers. Going to skip the Imperial Remnant right now because we saw that's a little new and your troopers aren't looking too hot. But we'll go here and make a quick mention. They are a great team and they are on the rise. However, again, where you're at, this might not make a whole lot of sense to dump a lot of gear in there and miss out on the bigger things like Supreme Leader Kylo, which will help you climb an arena, get more crystals. The more crystals you're getting, the faster you're gearing and farming. That's really going to be your focus. Next up is Jedi. We'll skip the Jawas. I mean, the Jawas, yeah, they're Jawas. Sorry, Flex. That's my guildmate. He has incredible Jawas. plug there for him. Anyway, your Jedi are looking really good. Your Revan is Relic 7. Jolie is Relic Bastila. Grandmaster, you're fantastic. Your Shak Ti is R5 already. She is good to go. Don't think you're going to need any more there. I wouldn't worry about this team anymore right now until you get Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Night Sisters up next. Well, Mandalorians. Let's take a quick look. Your Mandos, they're going to need some love, but again, this is later in-game content. I think you're going to be better off working on some other aspects of your roster. So let's work on Night Sisters. Actually, let's not really work too much on them. You've got the main ones at Gear 12. I would not invest any more gear in Initiate or Acolyte. The one thing that I would do, and make this a higher priority than some of the others, but not as big as Supreme Leader Kylo, take Asajj to R3. This is going to help you in both the gas event as well as Darkside Geo territory battles. Old Daka, take her to Relic 5. This is going to help in the same way in Geo territory battles. It'll help for territory wars, especially in that Night Sisters can be a great General Grievous counter with Daka at high relic, high health. Some things will shut that down, but for your standard General Grievous team, this is a very efficient way to kill that. Old Republic. They're fine. You've already got both Revans. They don't do a whole lot of work outside of it. Zalbar is probably the best character out of that group, other than your Revan and Jedi. He's done good work. Phoenix, there's not a whole lot of use or value out of them right now. There's no reason to gear them further. Let's talk Rebels, though. Looking at your Rebels, you've got a great start, but there's some key pieces that you really need to consider gearing. Again, this might be on that level of Asajj, somewhere around there, right after you get Kylo done. Your Han Solo definitely needs to go to Gear 12. Same with your Chewbacca. Your Chewbacca, you want the Loyal Friend Zeta, and that's going to increase the viability of that team a ton. Then you can use those three with R2 and 3PO. You can stick in some other options, but one thing that I wanted to clue you in on, to keep your eye on, keep thinking about this farm, is the Mon Mothma and 3PO farm. 3PO and Chewie. Mon Mothma is a pretty good team. She's not the greatest of, but if you're thinking about going after Jedi Master Luke later, you're going to need her. But 3PO and Chewie does massive, massive damage and increases the viability of the CLS team tenfold, in my opinion. You can take out some pretty big teams with this. Even at low stars and low gear, we're talking like Gear 9, Gear 10 even, he can plug in as a fourth with C-3PO, CLS, Han, Chewie, 3PO and Chewie, and C-3PO. That is a fantastic team. He helps his team survive. He dispels debuffs. He assists on every attack. He is a phenomenal character. Okay, let's take a look at Resistance. Your Resistance is looking pretty good. You're not really going after Rey, so right now I think you're pretty good here. I don't see anything that really needs to be done. The one thing that I'll mention here that I've talked with you about is for your Phase 1 Heroic Sith Raid. Before you get Slacker, you can use Rey clones, which is JTR, BB-8, C-3PO, Rex, and 5s. Your 5s would need to be a little bit more durable. R6, R7 is highly recommended. But that team can do some massive, massive damage in Phase 1. Okay, going down the list, Rogue One, no real reason to gear them right now. Your Scoundrels. Scoundrels are kind of important. Some of them more so than others. Your Nest is good. She's just fine at Gear 12. Your Newt, that's going to be one we'll talk about with Separatists. Scoundrels are kind of a mixed bag. They're really good, but I don't know that they're a high priority on some things. You don't have Vandor done yet. He's a key piece of the Scoundrel puzzle. Queel and IG-88 are working real well in there, but again, that's later content, so don't worry too much here. Let's move right on into those Separatists, though, and get back to some of this. So your Newt team for Geonosis territory battles for the dark side, Newt, Dooku, Jango, great characters. Django not so much, but in like Territory Wars, that's a really good team for where you're at in the game. Newt, Dooku, Django, plus a couple of Separatists or a tank. The only thing that you're really needing is the Zeta on Newt. After that, you should be good to go. You can take him to gear 11. I don't think he needs to go higher than that for territory battles. Sorry about that. But that's the big thing right there. Now, talking about General Grievous, this is a really great team. Grievous is incredibly powerful, but he needs to be at Relic. So Grievous is one that I would consider taking to Relic 1 immediately, or pretty quick. If you can squeeze him in that Supreme Leader Kylo farm, that would be great. But the key pieces that are missing are B1 and Droideka. Those two you're going to want to farm shards for as fast as you can. Again, Kylo first, but this can go high on that priority list. Okay, moving into the Sith. Your Sith are looking fantastic. Now, I'm going to do Sith Empire separate, but as far as the main Sith, you've got a great Nihilus and Scion, but your Traya is lacking. I would really like to see Traya at gear 12, double Zeta. Both those Zetas are good. They have meaning, and she kind of runs that team. She's plug and play in other Sith comps. She's great for some counters. She's kind of important. I don't know that I would rush her immediately, but she's another one. If you've got an extra piece of gear that you can stick somewhere and it belongs on her, maybe do that. Moving into Sith Empire, your Darth Revan is at Relic 7. Bastila HK is good. Your Malak, I know you're farming that. You're close to the 7th star. That's going to make a huge difference for this team, and I can't wait for you to get Malak done. Get him to like Relic 3. He'll function well at Relic 3 or 4 and can do pretty much anything except for like Challenge Pit, and maybe Relic 5 is good for him. That's something you'll kind of decide, but he's definitely going to need to go to Relic. The other piece that I'd like to see you work on here is Sith Empire Trooper. His stars are going to be good, a little bit more gear. He's kind of there to die, so you don't necessarily have to put a ton of work into him for this team to function well. But maybe just beef him up just a little bit so he'll survive the first couple of hits, and that way your Darth Revan can get going and start taking out teams. Okay, having gone through that list, I'm just going to read off briefly what I would consider your currently viable GAC Territory Wars teams that you can focus on using. And those are going to be your Shot Clones, Bounty Hunters, Empire, First Order, Galactic Republic, GOs, Jedi, Night Sisters, Rebels, Resistance, General Grievous. Again, G13 there is going to be great for him in GAC and Territory Wars. Newt with the Zeta, small little addition that will take that team to a higher level. Traya, get her geared. She's still going to work a little bit now, but I'd like to see those Zetas go on as soon as you could afford to put those on, and then just increase her gear when you can. And Darth Revan, he's pretty well good to go. You just need to finish off Malak and beef up your Sith Empire Trooper a little bit more. Okay, let's talk Squad Arena. Right now, you're running your Jedi Knight Revan team, which is a pretty strong team, and you're hanging out around 250, but I think you can do better than that with Darth Revan. Darth Revan eats Jedi Knight Revan alive. The Death Mark is so powerful, it can crush Revan pretty much out of the gate. So let's talk a little bit about what you would need to do for your Sith Empire team to get them more arena ready. The big thing, and it's finally come to that time, is modding. Your mods are not the strongest on a lot of your characters, and I'd really like to see you devote a lot of time for the next several months to mod farming. I've given you my mod farming guide, and I suggest you follow that. Increase the mods that you get that have speed on them. Your secondary speeds are very important. As we can see, you're running Darth Revan at 221, which is painfully slow. Darth Revan is a really fast character, and an average speed for him is going to be well over 300. Your Bastila, the same thing that applies there is the speed. She needs to be one of your faster characters on the team. Revan's probably going to be the fastest. You can run Revan fastest. You can run Darth Malak the fastest. If Malak's faster than your Revan, you get to pop an enemy taunt, which opens it up for Revan to hit the leader, which will put fear on the whole team. Personally, I like a fast Malak, but either one of them is going to work. You want Basta Lashan to go as fast as possible because of the Corrupted Battle Meditation. If she gets to go first, she stops enemies from applying debuffs, and that's very crippling. You got her running at 218, and again, she's another character that's pretty easy to get over 300 speed. Let's take a look at Malik. Your Malik is running at 159. Again, this is painfully slow. Slower Malik isn't so bad, but what you're looking for is what you've got right here, this high tenacity. High tenacity Malik means he won't get shock on him, he won't get healing immunity, he won't get buff immunity, he'll be able to do his thing. Okay, I'm not really going to touch on much more HK. HK, I would like to see an offense set on. If you look at HK47's abilities, you're going to see why I would recommend offense, because that will do more pure damage. This ability, Havoc, if you read on it, deal true damage, ignores defense, but can't critically hit. So when you have high crit damage on him, that's not really going to apply because he's not going to be able to crit. So you're losing offense on him. So an offense set is going to be much better than a crit damage set. Sith Empire Trooper, just make him tanky. Okay, on to your fleet arena. Looking at your ships, you don't have Negotiator or Malevolence right now, which is really going to hinder your ability to climb a lot without something like a High Relic. Outside team like Home 1 and Rebels, they can still climb a little bit. For what you're working with, I think you can do a little bit better than the comp you've got right now. I would like to see you keep Houndstooth, keep Thrawn in there in the Chimera, but I want you to use your Geonosian ships. I think they're going to do a little bit better. And they're pretty well done. They're geared. Sunfax Geonosis Starfighter is the only one that needs stars, and that's a very quick farm. You can find those shards in the Fleet Store or the Galactic War Store, and over the course of like a week or two, you're going to have that ship ready. It's a really good fleet, and once you do end up with Malevolence, this is going to be key to that. You can also run the Geos with, you could run like an Empire team under Chimera and run the Geos under Tarkin. It works just fine. I think that could get you up closer to the 50 level, and once you start hitting 50 and under, that's where you start making crystals. So that's going to help with your refreshes, it'll help you farm faster, and I'd like to see you target that. The next thing that I'm going to advise is start working on your prep for getting Negotiator. You and your guild are really close to starting Geonosis territory battles, and that's going to start getting you that Guild Event Token 2 or Get 2, and that's where you're going to get the Negotiator from. It's a very powerful capital ship. Right now it's currently meta, but you're going to need some ships to make it work right. And you're looking good on 5s. You've got Rex done. Ahsoka you're going to bump to relic levels anyway. She's going to be good. But a key piece of that is Anakin's Eta 2 Starfighter. You're going to have Anakin to relics, but the ship needs to go to 7 stars as well. So that might be a very good fleet node farm for you to get going immediately. The other thing that I would consider is the BTL Y-Wing. It's another staple in that group, if not the staple, since you don't really need Houndstooth with that comp. Okay, let's talk about your dark side GOTB prep for a minute. There's some key teams that you will need to be successful. You've got a few of them in good shape. One, your Geonosians. They're going to do just fine for like normal missions. They're going to be okay where they're at to get you watch shards. You're going to have to mod appropriately, but the gear is already there. The Acklay is the only thing that's going to give you trouble, and it's unlikely that you're going to be able to complete that mission. We covered General Grievous. That team is Grievous, B1, B2, Droideka Magna. You have nodes that will be require those specific characters. So go ahead and consider putting a secondary rush after Slacker on your B1 and your Droideka. Newt Dooku Asajj, there are some specific missions for those characters, like Dooku and Asajj have a mission. You should be pretty good to go for that with Asajj at Relic 3. It really helps her damage. It helps her survivability. Wouldn't worry too much there. Newt just needs a Zeta in that Phase 1 special mission. You'll be able to pop in Newt and go with that. Even at Gear 10, he can be really successful at Gear 10. Gear 11, maybe. I mean, do the mission a time or two and see where you're at. And then you may have to take him up to Gear 11, but I wouldn't go any further with that unless you want him for more survivability in other areas. Darth Revan, Bastila Shan Fallen, Malak, HK-47, and Sith Empire Trooper. That is a very good team for Darkside territory battles. If you want your Sith Empire Trooper in there, you're going to have to get the stars up because there is a 6-star requirement on the first 2 phases and a 7-star requirement on the last 2 phases. But even without Sith Empire Trooper, just stick in whatever you've got 7 stars of that's Sith Empire, and Darth Revan will take care of itself in the first few phases. Traya, Darth Nihilus, Darth Sion, Palpatine, and Vader. That team wrecks and very good. You're going to need to get your Traya up to gear 12 for that to function, and it looks like the rest of that is done. Another team that does really well, Talzin, Daka, Spirit, Zombie, and Asajj. If Asajj is required in another place, you can stick in Talia. You've got Talia done, so that'll be just fine. The Talzin lead there for the revives are good. You've got Spirit done. Again, Daka is going to be key. You want Daka Relic. It's going to help that team survive the full 4 waves. Your other big team that's going to work is Kylo Ren Unmasked. Kylo Ren, First Order Executioner, First Order Officer, +1, like Phasma or something. That team does really well. The battles can take forever, like 15-20 minutes, but you can go 4 out of 4 with those where yours are right now. Once you get Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, you won't have to worry about it. You'll have 2 First Order teams if you need it, and you'll just pop in Kylo or Supreme Leader Kylo Ren and 4 other things. It really doesn't matter. Just stick those in and Kylo's going to go crazy. Then you can fall back on the team I just mentioned. Okay, without getting too preachy here, mods are your #1 priority. Please, please, please mod farm daily. Speed secondaries are what drives this game. You're going to need lots of speed arrows. You're going to need lots of the speed secondaries. By speed arrows, I don't mean the set. I mean the +30 speed, and then slicing those up to +32 with the 6E slice. Definitely look at that mod guide that I gave you and just follow that. Every day, be farming 8 to 16 mods. Try to get that to where you're farming and they hit +10 or better speed, and then you can start slicing those up a little bit more. Maybe you get some decent blue or purple mods that roll up +10 to +15 and slice closer to 20. You start getting enough of those, then you switch so much from farming the mods to farming slicing materials. That way you can increase their other stats. Outside of mods, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is your very clear first priority. All of your gear should be directed at that team. And again, the spreadsheet, if you make that and know what gear you absolutely need, that's going to help you to hoard and not just be tempted to gear other things that are going to slow your progress down on getting Kylo, because once you get Kylo, your farms are going to get a lot faster because you're going to get higher arena ranks, more crystals, and things just speed up from there. Your GOTB prep, that's going to be another priority. Once you get to the point where you're getting Slacker finished up, go ahead and start getting those teams together for Geonosis territory battles. General Grievous, Newt, Darth Revan, and your First Order, those are the biggest priorities in my opinion. Your Geos are going to work just fine for what they need to do. Your Night Sisters is really just a secondary team, because if you have the 2 First Order teams, that's going to take care of you. Just, once you get into the territory battles, you'll see what I mean, and you'll get a good feel for what you need to get going. Another priority that I'm going to throw out here is once you start gearing all of this stuff, like you've got your shot clones geared, you'll have your pilots geared, you'll have your Geonosians geared, or not your Geonosians, your Separatists geared, like your Grievous. That's when you need to start looking at getting gas. You're still missing General Anakin Skywalker. That's a huge addition to your roster, and that will replace Darth Revan as your arena team if you get him before Slacker. But as we're trying to go here, Slacker's going to come first. That's the dominant character. Go with that. The last real priority that I have for you is work on your negotiator ship preparation. Get those ships ready. Get your pilots ready, which they mostly are. But your Eta-2 Starfighter and your BTL Y-Wing are the 2 big ships you need to really start looking forward to. Because in the next 6 months, you're going to get enough Get 2 to hopefully get you the Negotiator unlocked, and that's a very powerful ship. 5-star Negotiator is way better than anything you've got on your roster right now. All right, that's all I've got for you, Element. Feel free to ask me any other questions. You know how to reach me. If any of you other people out there would like a roster review or to discuss things with me, please send me a message down below and we'll talk. I'll let you know how to get in contact with me. There's a link to my Discord server in the description. Feel free to drop by and send me a message. And I wish nothing but the best for you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.